sure if I am sold 100% on it, if I'm honest. There's a few little issues with this scene. The main one being that forked tree on the as a second layer, the sort of mid-ground of this image. There's some darker trees in behind, and I don't want them to be sort of... I want the forked tree just to pop. Pop is the wrong word. I want it to stand out. I don't want it to be blended into the background too much. And the foreground the same. Although there's nothing behind the foreground immediately, the main tree, I don't want there to be anything too dark coming in behind the tree, just to make sure that I'm not... Make sure that I'm still making the trees, the main subjects stand out, basically. So I've sort of started over the left, which has a problem of that there's no interest really in the foreground, and there's too much distance between the two trees. So then what I decided to do was to move over to the right, to where I am now, but closer in, and I was shooting around 30 to 40 mil. And then I'm introducing quite a lot of sky, a little bit later in the morning now, and there's a hot spot of sky on the left, which I don't really like. This is a shot that really eluded me. What this image needs is atmosphere. It's very flat now. It's very flat, sort of the shadows are very flat. They're not particularly dark. The sky is very bright. So, yeah, it's that weird sort of light where if you include the sky, it's very distracting. And because everything else is very muted, it stands out even more. You know what I mean? Whereas if it was really dark shadows and really high highlights, they sort of complement each other in a way. They sort of make sense in your head. But because it's very muted in the shadow areas and the bright highlights are very bright, when you look at the image, it doesn't really compute as a natural scene. Does that make sense? I do like the composition though. There's a nice branch on the main tree, and it sort of arcs and it points off towards the forked tree, which is quite nice. So I like the composition. It's not completely sold on the conditions. There's one to come back to. There's definitely more improvement here for sure. Be interesting to see what this is like as we get deeper into winter. So this isn't a typical shot that I would take. I got drawn to the light, got sucked in to shooting the light. And it's not just that, it's the shape of this tree, the texture. And I like the fact it's a bit messy and cluttered. Kind of like the previous shot. Almost like a theme of this video. There's two very conflicting elements to this shot. I'm not really sure if they work, but they all point off to the top right hand side, and the main one, which is this little fallen branch, this pretty unbelievable epic tree, and that's another reason why I liked this image, was because of the story. Although you can't see the main tree, I obviously know I'm here, so for me it means a bit more maybe, because I know more of the backstory, which is very important from an image, is trying to create a story. Yeah, so it's the light, the shape, the textures, and the backstory to this scene that I quite like. But compositionally, they both sort of end in the same spot, and the light in the foreground sort of holds you in initially, and then I'm hoping the main tree, and the little branch on the side, which I'm assuming comes from the same great big oak, will pull you through the shot. Technically, there isn't a lot to it. It's just all about the light and all about the shape. like I said, I've already put the main tree on the bottom left, and that comes in. I haven't got space around it because I want to sort of be a bit more impactful. And then the branch on the right just sort of holds you in and fills that sort of dead space on what would have been dead space on the right hand side. So yeah, not my usual, not a world beater, but what my intentions with this in terms of editing is I want it to be really dark and grungy in the background, and really take advantage of that light in the foreground. So this is going to be a real dark, grungy, moody image, and that's exactly how I see it, or saw it at the time, and how I could utilise the conditions I've got. I would like to thank Case Filters for their continued support. I exclusively use the Magnetic Revolution system and would highly recommend Case Filters for their extensive range and exceptional quality. If you want to upgrade your filters, then please consider Case and use the code TOMPETERS5KA at the checkout. Can't work out whether I want to shoot this or not. I think that I've been here maybe 10 minutes. Still coming to mind that was probably made my mind up. It's a sign. Maybe there's nothing really jumping out, although I thought there was initially. I just like the way it looks so delicate. Yeah, I like the delicate feel of it, but I just don't know. There's enough there, really. There's a nice fern down there. It's sort of pointing into the way that the path is through the trees, which is quite nice. Shots. So much character on these pine trees. If you sort of look a bit closer, sort of ignore the what's the word? Ignore like the patterns and the wider scene. I mean, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like consistency. They can be quite boring because obviously they're planted in a certain way. They can be a little bit more predictable and come across not as interesting. But if you really look for them, if you really pick something that's more abstract, or I say more creative because it's not really what I'm, just something more intimate. There's so much going on these trees, especially on, in the sort of nooks and crannies of the bark. I did have the 24-70 on, but I put the 100-400 on just because it's better suited for these more intimate scenes. It's like a wallpaper image. So I think I'm going to end the video here, and I'll show you this last image in a minute. It's just starting to rain. Which is really weird because it's so humid and muggy, and it's been very hot last week. It's been like 30 degrees some days, so I think we're probably due a bit of a storm. I hope the microphone picks up the rain. I love the sound of the rain in the forest. Yeah, so I'm going to just finish the video here, try and get something on this tree bark, Like I said, the patterns, the textures, the shapes, and the colour in this instance as well is adding something to the image. Because we've got sort of ambient light from behind, you're getting that sort of wrapping glow around the tree, so I'm going to try and find something a bit more unique and different. And then I'm going to slowly walk back to the car and go home. So if you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave me a comment down below. Hit that thumbs up as well. That's such a big part of YouTube, it seems to be these days, is trying to hold someone's attention. And without that little initial interaction on these videos, they don't seem to get any traction, not like they used to. Not that I do these videos for likes, but to help grow this channel, if you really could, drop me a comment down below. I love reading the comments. Hit that thumbs up button, and if you are considering, if you are enjoying the content, then please consider subscribing, because sorry, I thought I just heard a bird then. Woodpecker. If you do want to consider subscribing, then that'd be great. And I will see you on the next one. Ciao. Bye for now.